Joining me now from Gaza's El Mawasi is Jonathan Crickx. He is the Director of Communications at UNICEF office in the state of Palestine. Jonathan, thank you so much for being with us on the program. I first want to get your assessment on the current situation in Gaza's education system. Almost all schools, universities, if not, have been partially or fully turned to rubble.
Yes, so as you were rightfully pointing, so it's 90% approximately of all the school buildings in the Gaza Strip which have been either damaged or destroyed. And the 10% remaining, it's being it's being used as a shelter for internally displaced people since the beginning of the war. So the level of destruction is huge. Yet every family, every mother, every child we meet here in Gaza, they tell us that once their basic needs filled, enough food, enough water, they really want to go back to school. They really want an education. And as you know, before this war, the education levels in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank were very high. So there is a huge appetite to go back to school. And what we are doing with UNICEF is to propose temporary learning spaces. We're talking about 110 temporary learning spaces which have been set up already, and we want to expand, of course. Those 110 temporary learning spaces, for the moment, they are welcoming more than 130 children. So what are they doing there? They're doing basic learning, literacy, reading, writing, a little bit of math, and a little bit of science. And this is really the bare minimum for the children to be out of the street on a school bench and listening to a teacher.
I mean, there are a lot of challenges that students in Gaza face, one of them being psychological challenges. And being able to receive an education, regardless of the circumstances, is thought to bring some sort of normalcy back into their lives. What needs to be done immediately to ensure that kids are back at school?
So I think that what needs to be done immediately is actually funding, because the appetite, we have the demand. The children, all the children I met in all the temporary learning spaces, even teenagers, I have never seen teenagers who were so inclined to learn, who were so participating and active in the classroom. So the demand is there. We have just been able to receive education supplies that are going to be distributed in the coming days inside the Gaza Strip. What I mean by that is what we need is to have more funding in order to be able to recruit additional teachers, to find spaces, because all those temporary learning spaces, it's a tent among the displaced people tents. So we need to be able to have those high quality tents that are able to receive the children. And then what we need to have, and that is extremely important, is to shift gears and move later in the coming months from these temporary learning spaces to a larger scale form of rebuilding of schools. Because let's not forget that education, the schools, the learning, this is what is giving hope for the children, hope for them to build a better future for themselves. It's extremely important here in Gaza.
And of course, this is going to have a long-term impact on generations to come, unfortunately. What are some challenges we could witness moving forward?
Well, I mean, the learning gap is can be. I have two young children. One is in first year primary school. If he misses a class for 2 weeks, it really requires additional efforts in order for him to to catch up on the basic math and reading. So you can imagine the gap it has created for so many children, for 700,000 children who didn't get any access to formal education in the past 2 years. So that's one important part. And The second part is, as you were mentioning, the mental health and the psychosocial support that the children are in need of. All the temporary learning spaces that we are working, that we are developing and implementing in Gaza, they are all equipped with mental health and psychosocial support. You know, for UNICEF, the figure is very clear. It's 1 million children, all of the children in the Gaza Strip, who are today in need of mental health and psychosocial support. And it's very easy to understand. I met dozens of children who have lost a father, a mother, a friend, a brother. So the level of the trauma is huge, and education with the mental health and psychosocial support, they go hand in hand to help the children to cope and recover.
Indeed, Jonathan Crickx, thank you so much for being with us here on TRT World and sharing that insight with us.